Okay, so the investors will make money. Now, sort of just the entire landscape that you do have, right, with the financial sector lenders, Axis, which has been on an acquisition spree. You've got what's happened with HDFC, Bajaj Finance, one more strong business update. And how do you see this landscape and the traditional debate of HDFC versus ICICI?
So I think two parts of the landscape, which I find very interesting. I think what's been very interesting over the last 6 months is many of India's smartest capital allocators have put their chips on the table. So you saw Asian Paints making small acquisitions. You saw Pidilite making small acquisitions. Obviously, what Amitabh and Axis have done, the HDFC Bank deal. In small caps, we've seen people like GMM Pfaudler make acquisitions. Superajit, which I think is the smartest capital allocator in auto ancillaries, make an acquisition in Germany. So it's very interesting, right? The smartest capital allocators in India are telling us through their actions, as much as their words, through their actions, they're telling us this is an economic recovery. I am putting money on the table. I am putting my chips on the table. I want to benefit from the recovery. And I think all of us out there should take heed of that. If smart companies, several smart companies in the 6-month period are putting money on the table, it's worth taking cognizance. And secondly, coming to lending, as I was saying, it's difficult now to see, given this arms race that is underway. It's a little bit like an arms race where powerful financial services institutions are basically competing with each other on technology, on distribution, on access to cheap capital. It's difficult to see how other lenders who haven't yet joined the game, the acquisition game, how they can afford to be left out. So my reckoning is we will see more M&A action over the next year. I don't even think it'll take a couple of years. I think in the next 12 months, you will see more action as other lenders who don't want to be left behind also end up bulking up, focusing on distribution, on technology, and on the cost of capital side of things.
Saurabh Mukherjea, in all your books and all the stuff that you write and interviews you say, you always said one thing, right? Follow the cash. Don't follow necessarily the profits, because, and you bring out this whole analogy about how sometimes the companies you invest in, the cash compounds faster than maybe the bottom line. But if we are going to be in the season of M&As, that's going to impact the cash. So what's it going to do to your strategy?
So good point. So firstly, in banking, there is no sort of cash concept, right? You can't really do free cash flow in banking because of the whole construct around how banks fund themselves. So in banks, the number we look at is book value. Book value per share is the main metric to focus on in banks. And as I said, on that metric, the HDFC Bank, HDFC deal looks to us to be very attractive. On the acquisition side of it, what's very interesting, and I'm glad you raised this point, is what smart companies are able to do. And it's in a way, that's what makes them almost magical. They're able to acquire, so that eats up their cash as they acquire, and yet within 2 years you see that the acquisition throws off lots of cash. So I will say a good case in point is if you look at Dr Lal Pathlabs, he's been steadily doing, Manchanda has been steadily doing small acquisitions over the last 6 or 7 years, but in spite of that, his free cash flow, Dr Lal's Pathlabs free cash flow has compounded at 35%. Pidilite similarly, over the last 5-6 years, they've done several acquisitions, and yet free cash flow compounding for Pidilite tends to be pushing towards 25%. So the skill of a high-class company is to expend cash on acquiring and still grow free cash flows at a 25% rate. And that in a way is the sort of the Sachin Tendulkar type company that we all aspire to invest in and compound our wealth.